Since late last year, upgrading your graphics card has become a nightmare due to demand completely outstripping supply, not to mention scalpers taking advantage of the situation. So, to get my rig upgraded, I did some scalping of my own. Wait, not that kind of scalping. Let's roll the video. I've been wanting to upgrade my gaming PC for a while, and when Nvidia launched the RTX 30 series, but more specifically the 3060 Ti, I finally had my chance. Turns out it was a pretty slim chance because 2020 had other plans. For a lot of us, it's been a nightmare trying to get hold of any 30 series card unless you're willing to pay scalper prices, keep refreshing web pages, or drop everything to respond to a stock alert. For me, the additional bottleneck was getting the smallest possible graphics card I could find due to my current setup. This is the Skyreach S4 Mini by NFC Systems. With a volume of just 5 litres, it's one of the smallest and, in my opinion, best looking small form factor case out there. If I could just get a 3060 Ti in there, it would be the console killer that's actually smaller than the latest generation of consoles. By volume. So packed in here is an Intel i7-9700K processor, 32 gigs of RAM and an EVGA GTX 1060SC. It has a power supply that's split into 2 parts, the AC-DC converter and the DC-DC unit, and lets you make full use of the available space to create a brickless build. Cable management can also really make a difference in terms of airflow and aesthetics, and in this build I cut cables to length. I think the results look pretty clean, but as you've probably noticed, I took the customization a step further. Why? Just take a look at that clearance. There's no room left for the power connector between the GPU and the power supply. The most obvious solution for me was directly soldering wires to the GPU board. I've had no problems since I built this system last year, but fitting a 3060 Ti could take a bit more work. Or possibly a lot more work. If you're thinking about the warranty, where we're going, we don't need warranties. If you dig the movie references, stick around because I love quoting classic lines from my favourite movies and shows. And also, if you want to learn how to push your tech to the limit, and then beyond, I found the perfect graphics card, and the only card that would fit inside my case. The EVGA 3060 Ti-XC. I couldn't believe it! It was the right height, the right length, it was a straight swap from my 1060. All I had to do was whip off the backplate and solder the power connector wires. But despite the endless searching, I could not get hold of one. If you did, let me know what case you put it in, but I didn't know where to turn. I was heartbroken, and then for whatever reason, call it fate, call it luck, call it karma, I stumbled across the Zotac 3060 Ti Twin Edge and the chance to buy it. There were only moments to decide, but it was too tall and too long. It would need serious modification. Should I keep searching or should I buy it? So what's the plan? Simple. I'm going to shrink it. How? I'm going to scalp some length off the card in order to fit it into my case. My frantic pre-purchase Google Poo took me to 2 reviews, one from Tech Power Up and the other from Guru 3D, and it was their images of the card that really helped inform whether this project would even be possible. So a shout out to them for their detailed hardware reviews. Let's take this card apart and have a look. You can see that the PCB is easily small enough not to need any modification. The heatsink fans are thin aluminium, so at least in theory, those can be cut down. I won't be using the stock fan shroud or backplate. The S4 Mini comes with a bracket for installing your own fans, and I'll be using a pair of these, the Noctua 92mm Chromax Black NFA 9X. While not specifically for GPUs, you can get adapters which let you connect them to the GPU fan controller. If you saw the shorts leading up to this video, you'll see that I actually tested my Dremel on a spare heatsink just to check there was a clean cut. I mean, come on, it's a £400 card. I don't want to take any chances. Will the smaller heatsink have a major impact on cooling? Will this GPU survive the surgery? Let's find out. So the build is complete, it boots and it runs, but modifying the hardware wasn't the end of the story. The 9700K wasn't a bottleneck to the system, so the cost of upgrading to AMD's Ryzen 5600 just didn't seem justified. That choice came back to bite me because under load the system would just cut out. That's despite updating everything and running at stock speeds. Finally, I had to confront the one inconvenient factor I chose to ignore: power. Nvidia recommends a 600 watt power supply, but the highest capacity I can get for this case and keep the all-in-one form factor is 400 watts. This unit has a 90+% efficiency rating, which equates to about 360 watts. My CPU's TDP is 95 watts and the GPU is 200 watts. That's a comfortable margin of spare power, right? Wrong, because TDP isn't the same as maximum power draw. What I found was that at times the CPU could draw as high as 161 watts and the GPU up to 220 watts under load. With a touch of undervolting to both, however, power usage came down to a manageable level. I'm gaming at 1080p and happy with the performance, with the CPU undervolted by 90mV at stock frequency and GPU maxed at 900mV with a clock of 1905. The TimeSpy benchmark reports an average temperature of 59 degrees and a score of just over 11,000. After the modification, I found that the temperature rose to an average of 73 degrees and the score dropped by about 2%. The first benchmark was carried out as an open case, since the GPU wouldn't physically fit inside, so the temperature difference is a result of reduced heatsink size of about 5% in weight and the closed case. I think these two probably make the biggest difference, but other changes do include the new fans and the lack of backplate. Since I am gaming at 1080p, I think I can experiment with underclocking further to reduce that temperature without feeling too much of a performance hit. I hope you enjoyed watching, and subscribe if you want to see more videos on pushing your tech to the limit and then beyond. Next up, it's time to light up the Trashcan Mac Pro. That's right, we're RGBing all the things. P.S. if you like this video, hit the like button and let me know what you think. Stay safe, and I'd love to see you in the next one.